With me today, I have a brand new 2020 Nissan Rogue Sport. Now for this model year, the Rogue Sport went through a refresh. So now on the outside, the front and the back has been revised. There's more colors to choose from, more wheel options, and more importantly on the inside, there's a lot more standard safety features. So, is this the right compact SUV for you? Keep watching and find out. Before I get started, I want to give a big shout out to my friends at Bill K Nissan, which made this video possible. So if you're in the market for a brand new or used Nissan, definitely check out this dealership. Their information is in the description below. The Rogue Sport is one of the 6 crossovers and SUVs that Nissan produces today and sits right in between the smaller Kicks and the larger Rogue. For 2020, the Rogue Sport gets a new revised front and rear end. The front V-Motion grille is larger and more in line with the rest of the Nissan lineup. The headlights, hood, and lower bumper have also been redesigned to give the Rogue Sport a more chiseled and sporty look. All trims receive LED daytime running lights, halogen headlights that are auto on-off. However, with the premium package on this SL trim, you do get LED headlights and fog lights. The side of the Rogue Sport stays the same, however for 2020, 19-inch alloy wheels are standard on the SL trim. They look massive on a small crossover like this and again adds to the sporty vibe. There are also 2 new colors which really brightens up the Rogue Sport, like this Monarch Orange that you see here or the Nitro Lime. The backside of the Rogue Sport has the same overall shape, but is updated with new taillights and a chrome bumper guard as you see here on the SL, and all trims receive a spoiler on top. Inside the trunk, there's a good amount of space with deep cubby holes on both the left and right side, and in the middle you get a divide and hide storage area. Then the front one can be used to make a divider. On top there is a privacy cover and that can also be stored under the divide and hide area. To fold down the second row, simply push on the seat back buttons. However, they can't get stuck like you see here, so you have to move the front seats forward or remove the headrest. As for amenities in the second row, you get a pair of vents and 4 cup holders. That's about it. There are 2 sets of car seat latches. As for space, I'm 5'10" and I have about a few inches of legroom left, and the same with headroom. The bottom cushion is kind of low, so you do get a gap underneath your legs. No adjustability on the second row seats either. Up front, the cabin to the Rogue Sport has a good look with the use of aluminum, glossy black pieces, and black leather. The steering wheel really shines. It has a modern design with a flat bottom and it feels good in my hands. On the right side, you have buttons for cruise control, phone controls, and Pro Pilot Assist. On the left, you have buttons for volume, scrolling, and navigating inside the info menu in the gauge cluster. The gauge cluster screen gives you info such as fuel economy, average speed, navigation if equipped, and can be used to adjust settings for many things, including driver assistant features in this Rogue Sport. For 2020, all Rogue Sports receive Nissan Safety Shield 360, which includes emergency braking front and rear, rear cross traffic alert, blind spot warning, lane departure warning, and high beam assist. In addition, the Rogue Sport can also read traffic signs. For those of you guys that live in regions that get cold and snowy, this Rogue SL gets heated steering wheel, heated mirrors, heated seats, and gets all-wheel drive lock, which distributes the power evenly front and rear. The premium package that adds on LED headlights and fog lights that I mentioned also adds on memory seats, Bose premium audio system, a regular moonroof, and HomeLink functionality into the auto-dimming rear view mirrors. The infotainment system with the 7-inch touchscreen goes unchanged. It looks a bit dated and it's a bit slow when navigating within. However, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard. The climate control functions are pretty easy to use, 2 large knobs for setting temperature, and in the middle you have buttons for the mode and fan control. You get 1 USB port and 1 12V outlet underneath the dash and 1 more set in the center armrest. As for the engine, this Rogue Sport gets a 2-liter 4-cylinder that pushes 141 horsepower and 147 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a CVT transmission. All right, it's time to go for a drive. Let's see how this Rogue Sport is on the roads. So first impression is the space up here in the first row is a lot more spacious than the second row. You guys saw in the second row, really, I didn't have much leg space nor headroom. Up here, totally different. There's a ton of headroom and ton of leg space overall. Width, hip room is all really good up here. Right now at low speeds, I got to say I'm pretty impressed with how quiet this Rogue Sport is, and actually how good the suspension is. This one that I'm testing does come with the 19-inch wheels, right? I showed you guys on the outside. It looks fantastic. It really makes this Rogue Sport pop, especially with this metallic orange. But you know, I was thinking that, you know what, it was going to affect the comfort, the ride quality, because the sidewalls going to be a lot more narrow. But right now, I don't get that. Actually, the suspension is soaking up the bumps really nicely. And in terms of quietness, it's really quiet in here. It is pretty chilly out. So, of course, I turn on the heated steering wheel and the heated seats, which I got to say, they both work, but they're at a very low level. Normally for steering wheels, right, I've tested some cars where they get so hot that I'm forced to turn off. This one, on the other hand, is really, really faint. You get just a slight feel of some warmth. Now, in terms of the seats, you do have two levels. You have a high and low. And the high, it takes a while before the seats heat up. And once they do, they stay at a comfortable level, but again, not too hot. And that's on the high level, so I didn't test out the low level. Now, with this refresh, the inside is pretty much the same as before. Most of the changes happened outside and with things that you don't see. But looking at the interior cabin here, this reminds me a lot of like the Rogue. You know, it's a little bit dated, especially the screen, right? I wish that, you know, Nissan would change the interior to match more like what you see in the Kicks or the Altima. One big plus up here is the steering wheel. And this is arguably probably the most important, because this is what you feel on a daily basis. Not only is the steering wheel updated, it looks great and it feels great too. All right, so now I'm going to test out the acceleration a little bit. This is with sport mode off. Let's see how it is. Okay, so that was about 10 to 60 miles per hour. And I'm just going to say it, it's slow. This Rogue Sport is not quick by any means. That took quite a long time to get up to 60 miles per hour. And what made it worse, honestly, was how the CVT transmission acted. When you're driving, the CVT acts like a regular auto, so you'll see the RPM drop, right? It's like simulating shifts, although it's not really. But when it's doing that simulation while I was trying to really accelerate, there was considerable amount of lag between those fake shifts. So unfortunately, this Rogue Sport is not very fast, and the CVT is really holding it back. Now, when you're not under heavy acceleration, like what I'm doing right now, just cruising around 40, 45 miles per hour, the way the CVT transmission acts is actually really nice. I think Nissan did a really good job in terms of making this CVT feel like a regular automatic transmission. It shifts very quietly, you don't get a lot of drone, and overall it's pretty smooth. Well, that is until you accelerate heavily. You get Pro Pilot Assist in this one I'm driving, which combines this intelligent cruise control with the steering assist. So basically you have semi-autonomous driving for those of you guys that do, you know, that have a long commute, that drive a lot every day, or even for trips. Pro Pilot Assist comes in handy. Now that I'm up to speed, I'm going about 50 miles per hour. I gotta say, it's still very quiet in here. Nissan did an excellent job on sound installation in this Rogue Sport. Excellent. it is really quiet in here. I mean, I'm going over some roads here with a lot of bumps and I do feel it, but I think this is actually really good compared to some of the others, the peers in this class that I've tested a lot of recently. The suspension in here is actually very comfortable. Besides the comfortable suspension, what helps with the drive is also the fact that the steering feel is actually really good too. I already mentioned about how I like the steering wheel, but in terms of the precision, it's actually pretty darn accurate. There's really no play in the steering wheel. When I do this, for example, I could definitely feel the Rogue moving around, so there's almost zero play in the steering wheel, and it has a good, kind of like a decent weight to it. Not very heavy, but it's not very light, so it's kind of right there. Visibility is also pretty good. The windshield is enormous. Part of that is because the roof is so high, you know, it goes up really high. Side windows are very big. The blind spot back there, not so bad. Plus, you get blind spot monitoring. You get these orange lights that appear on the inside. I like that rather than appear on the mirrors themselves. And also the back window, even with the headrest up, it doesn't block the middle view. The headrests are like to the side. So even the rear is actually really good. So visibility overall is good. Seats are very comfortable too. The bolstering is not what makes me feel that way. It's just, there's something about it, the way I'm in the seat. Nissans are known for zero gravity seats, and because of that, you know what? These seats are very comfortable. As for trim levels and pricing, there are 3 different trim levels to this brand new Rogue Sport. And with all 3, you can select front wheel drive or all wheel drive. The base trim is called the S, and it starts right around $23,240. You have to pay a little bit more for all-wheel drive. But even with the base trim, you do get the Safety Shield 360 and all the safety features I mentioned. You get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and LED daytime running lights. Next up, you have the SV trim, which adds on aluminum wheels, push-button ignition, roof rails, and dual climate control. And finally, you do have the SL, and that is what I'm reviewing today. You get those huge 19-inch wheels, you get leather inside, Pro Pilot Assist, and as for the premium package I mentioned, which adds on LED headlights, the moonroof, the memory seats, and the HomeLink setup, that is an additional $2,300. Lastly, let's talk about the good and bad to this brand new Rogue Sport. Starting with the good, the new exterior styling is definitely a huge improvement. There's a good amount of trunk space within. The suspension and tires provide a very smooth ride. The Rogue Sport also has a very quiet cabin with great visibility. Safety Shield 360 is now standard, and there's a lot more standard features across all trim levels. Now, as for the bad, there's a few things. The second row room is small and there's no adjustments with the seats. There are no USB ports or 12V outlet in the second row either. The premium package and Pro Pilot Assist is only available with the SL trim. The Rogue Sport's acceleration is slow, and miles per gallon is just so-so. And lastly, the cabin and infotainment screen looks a bit dated. Overall, I'm giving the Rogue Sport a score of 92, and if you want to see how this compares with its peers, check out driversonlyrankings.com. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check out these other videos.